Olsen is devoted to inspiring people to grow and overcome addiction and the obstacles they believe they face in their lives. Addiction can shatter lives, leaving behind a trail of destruction and broken dreams. From the smoldering ruins and darkest corners of despair, a journey of redemption can arise, a path that leads to triumphant recovery and newfound success. Mr. Olsen lays bare his own battle with addiction, a battle that nearly consumed him and wrecked his family and career. He shares his journey to recovery and success, offering blueprints for those seeking to break free of the chains of addiction. You will hear the remarkable transformation that is possible when one dares to confront their demons. Find inspiration and learn to forge an unwavering belief that you too can create a brighter, stronger future, rich in success and meaningful relationships. He's a member of TOASTMASTERS for the last 8 years and been a qualified speaker for a good portion of that time. Our next speaker, Mykal Olsen.
Thank you, Tom. Before I get started, we're going to go through a little bit of text setup. In fact, I would like to have all of you give Connie Jameson a round of applause. She's going to serve as my PowerPoint presentation remote control. Connie, I think we might have a new career for you. Let me also say, I want to thank you for giving me the invite to come here. I am really enjoying the weather. It is much nicer here than it is in Denver, Colorado. In fact, I had to change all of my travel plans. I had planned to drive down here, but last weekend we got a foot of snow. And that's in the low-lying areas. I can't imagine what it was up in the mountains. So I changed all my plans and I flew down here today. I see that we still have Rob working on here. Oh, there we go. Now, it's better to see this than it is to see my homely face that I have here, but at least we'll get a chance to share some information with you. Okay, I'm ready to begin now. See, I know that you guys down here are spoiled with the weather, but those of us like Miriam and I who are in the colder climes, we'll have a much nicer time doing this little exercise. I want you to think back to a perfect spring day. Those crystal blue skies, perfect temperature. And it was going to be a fun day, a Saturday, a number of years ago, and I was supposed to be taking my daughter to her softball game. But I never made it to that softball game. In fact, I was never able to make it to another softball game or to show up at home and have my girls jump into my arms. The reason is because I had allowed addiction to destroy my life and destroy my family. Connie, the next slide. I can remember saying this phrase to myself a number of times. I want to stop destroying my life and my family, but I just don't know how. When I finish with this speech, I hope that you'll all believe that I now know how. And I'm bringing the speech to you so that you can also know how. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters. I am so happy that I can be here. But what we're going to talk about is something Miriam mentioned, transformation. Connie? Transformation is one of those words that we really feel good about because we automatically assume that the ugly caterpillar is going to burst forth from the cocoon and become a beautiful butterfly. However, I want you to think about something. On that day, I turned into the ugly caterpillar. See, transformation just means to change. It can be a change for the good, or it can be something that is bad and destructive. What we need is a way to make that transformation happen one way and not the other. So let me begin to share with you a little information about how to make that change happen. Connie? Did you back up just a little bit? Did you try to back up, Connie? One more. I think we're still going forward. I think we need to go backwards. Okay. Here's step one. Here's an important word for you. Acceptance. This is where it had to start. But I want you to understand, I tried 12-step programs. I tried therapy. Both of them failed. And one of the reasons I think the 12-step failed is the first part of what they say in the 12 steps is we had to accept the fact that we were powerless in the face of the addiction that was destroying our lives. That's wrong. That's just not how it should be. I think that we have somebody here that would agree with me. We were made in the image of God. So we have all the power to make that change. It's in us. We should not be kneeling down and saying, I have no control over this. I do not have the power to change. No. You have the power. Just have to decide to do it. The reason step one is because. Be the cause of the change in your life to become better. There's a concept in neurolinguistic programming where it's talking about cause. We are the cause of everything that has turned out in our life. Now, we may not have instigated it. However, how you respond to what has happened in your life will dictate the results that you get. Two people experience the same trauma. One turns and goes and becomes a success. The other wallows in pity, in self-doubt, and self-destruction. Why? One is a cause, the other one is a victim. Be a cause, not a victim. Now, before I go further into my list, there is something that I need to address. Connie? Paradigm. Now, those of you who don't know me, don't understand, there are two words in the English language that I love: paradigm and paradox. Unfortunately, I didn't get to put paradox in here, but at least I could put paradigm. The reason we need to talk about this is there is a particular paradigm surrounding addiction that I must try to end. And here's what it is. Addiction is not about the substance. It's not about drugs. It's not about alcohol. Addiction is a symptom. It's just a symptom based on the root cause. Connie? The root cause is mental illness. Why did somebody start to use drugs? Because they couldn't handle the way their life was. Why does somebody become a problem drinker? Because they can't handle the pain that they're suffering in their lives. There are many other kinds of addictions: gambling addiction, sex addiction, social media addiction. There are no substances in those, and yet those are addictions too. Why? Because people are in pain and they don't know how to deal with it. Remember that statement? I don't know how to change it. They don't know how to change this either. So this is something that the program I was designing to help people overcome their addictions is to deal with this. Now, that still left me, when I was dealing with this, having a spark of hope of change, but it was still a small spark. At the time, my faith was a little weak, so I didn't have that same strength of conviction. But the next step that I'm going to show you comes in the form of a slap upside the head by a strange friend called inspiration. Connie? Step 2 is the anvil. This is where I learned to build a forge. But next one, Connie. Let me tell you how I came to this inspiration of using a forge. At the time, I was spending 6 years in prison because of my addiction and the crime that I committed to try and deal with that addiction. And I was sitting in this prison wearing my ugly orange pajamas. And somebody turned on the TV to a motivational speaker. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard motivational speakers like this. He was talking about, it was centered around sports. He was talking about, if you want to be a champion, you have to grind every day. Don't ever stop grinding and grinding. I had a very interesting reaction to this particular motivational speech. I was mad. I was livid. And I'll try to explain here why I was mad at somebody who was trying to motivate me to be better. See, I was sitting in prison. I had just destroyed my life. The last thing I wanted to hear was that I needed to grind even more after I'd just ground my life into the dust. Honey, go to the next slide, please. First, let's understand what grinding is. Grinding is a destructive process. It's ripping away shards of material from a source using intense friction. I'm going to suggest maybe you go home after this meeting and you go into your garage and you grab yourself a sheet of coarse sandpaper and rub it up and down your arm. Well, maybe not. Or maybe try rubbing it on your chest. Okay, maybe you don't want to do that. But if you were to do that, you would understand it's destructive. It doesn't make your skin better. It doesn't make you feel better. It's a destructive process. Well, that's when inspiration smacked me upside the head. Connie, go to the next. What is inspiration? Some say that it's a message from God that's giving you information. Well, I believe it's the power of God because God gave us this mind, gave us this powerful creation between our ears. Your mind remembers everything that you have ever learned, heard, witnessed, studied, everything. And once in a while, everything comes together. And then your subconscious mind speaks to you. Now, imagination, our subconscious does not speak in words. It speaks in images, moving images, and feelings. And what I got was an image of a medieval forge, complete with swords and armor and the fire and the anvil. All of it came to my mind. Why? What's the difference in that feeling that I got of being at peace? It's because forging is a creative process, not destructive. It's taking raw materials from the earth, heating it, molding it, shaping it, and turning it into whatever you want it to be. We who have suffered an addiction, who have suffered great loss, need a creative process, not a destructive one. Now, I wish that I had more time to go in more detail about the process that I have. Connie, could you go to the next one? But my process is lengthy and there's not nearly enough time here. However, I want you to understand I did not come here just to talk about me, my experiences, or any of this. I came here to talk to you, to share this information with you, and hopefully you will help me get this word out to more people. Tell me more places that I can speak. Perhaps you know someone that is dealing with this issue and needs to hear this message. There's somebody right now that's asking that question, how can I stop destroying my life? I'm hoping that you will help me with that. If you want to, send me a message with your email address, and I'll follow up with you within a couple of days. Let me wrap this up. Connie, could you go to the next one? I can't take back the destruction that I caused to my family and my life. But I have learned to create something new from the ruins of what I did. I came down here, flew all the way from Denver, but I didn't come here to give a speech. Although I'm very grateful that I've been given that opportunity. Thank you very much for that. But I flew all the way down here for one primary reason. So that I could spend a day with my daughter and help her celebrate her 25th birthday. Grasp the hammer of creativity and forge a new future. Thank you very much.